The 25th of July, 1943, 9:20 p.m. Heavy summer air hangs over Rome, thick with dust and exhaust. Boots scrape on stone inside the Palazzo Venezia. Somewhere down the corridor, a door opens, then shuts, soft, final. Outside, the city hums uneasily, distant traffic, murmured voices, the faint drone of Allied aircraft far beyond the horizon. Benito Mussolini, the man who once promised Italians a new Roman Empire, is walking into a room where his power will quietly end.no speeches.no crowds, just the sound of footsteps, and history tightening its grip. Moments later, he will step into a waiting car, believing he is being escorted to safety. Instead, he will be arrested in the name of the King of Italy. The fascist era, 21 years in the making, will collapse in a single night, but this moment does not begin in Rome. It begins far to the south, under a blinding Mediterranean sun, where the war has finally come home to Italy itself. Dawn breaks on *10 July 1943 along the shores of Sicily. The sea is rough. The wind is wrong. Landing craft slam into waves, soldiers vomiting over the sides, gripping rifles slick with salt water. Above them, parachutes scatter across the sky, some drifting miles off course, others torn loose by violent gusts. The air smells of fuel, cordite, and wet canvas. Operation Husky has begun for months. The Axis has known this day is coming. Sicily is the obvious target, a stepping stone into Fortress Europe. Yet knowing and being ready are two very different things. Italian coastal defenses are thin, poorly coordinated, and manned by troops who have been at war for 3 exhausting years. German units are present, but stretched. Command structures overlap, conflict, and hesitate. On the beaches near Gela, British and American troops push inland under fire. Italian artillery answers weakly. Some units fight. Many do not. Others simply melt away into the countryside. This is not cowardice, it is exhaustion, hunger, and the quiet understanding that the war has already been lost somewhere far above their pay grade. By nightfall, Allied forces have secured multiple beachheads. Italy, the birthplace of fascism, has been invaded. Back in Rome, the news arrives in fragments. Reports contradict each other. Casualties are unclear. Maps are outdated almost as soon as they are printed. Mussolini reads dispatches with a clenched jaw, insisting the situation is under control. But those around him, the generals, ministers, the king himself, see something different. They see inevitability. Italy's war has been a series of gambles gone wrong. Greece in 1940, a humiliating failure that required German rescue. North Africa, lost piece by piece to the British and then the Americans. Cities now lie open to Allied bombers. Milan, Turin, Genoa. Rome itself has been hit. The Italian people feel it every night. Sirens, explosions, glass shattering in the dark. Food is scarce. Fuel scarcer. Faith in the regime is evaporating, and for the first time, the war is no longer somewhere else. Mussolini had tied Italy's fate completely to Adolf Hitler's Germany. The sharp act of steel was meant to elevate Italy to great power status. Instead, it turned the country into a junior partner, dependent, overextended, and increasingly ignored. Even within the fascist party, confidence is cracking. Senior officials whisper in corridors. Military leaders quietly blame political leadership. The king, Victor Emmanuel III, watches and waits, his silence calculated, his patience long. The invasion of Sicily accelerates everything. Within days, Allied forces push deeper inland. American troops seize key airfields. British units advance methodically through rugged terrain. German commanders, pragmatic and clear-eyed, begin planning withdrawals even as Mussolini demands resistance. The contrast is brutal. German units disengage with discipline. Italian units dissolve under pressure. Each lost town is more than territory. It is a psychological blow to a regime built on strength, speed, and spectacle. On the 19th of July, 1943, Rome is bombed heavily for the first time. The Basilica of San Lorenzo is hit. Fires rage. Civilians dig through rubble with bare hands. The Pope walks through the devastation, surrounded by smoke and grief. The message is unmistakable, even the Eternal City is no longer safe. That same day, Mussolini meets Hitler at Felter in northern Italy. It is supposed to be a strategic conference. It becomes something else entirely. Hitler dominates the conversation, lecturing for hours, outlining grand plans, offering vague promises of reinforcements that will never truly arrive. Mussolini barely speaks. Those present later describe him as drained, distracted, almost hollow. The man who once thundered from balconies now struggles to assert himself in a room. Italy's leader is no longer leading. Behind the scenes, the knives are already out. Members of the Fascist Grand Council, men who helped build the regime, are now questioning its survival. Dino Grandi, a longtime fascist insider, drafts a motion that would return supreme military authority to the king. It is legal, constitutional, and utterly devastating to Mussolini's position. For months, the Grand Council has not met. Mussolini avoids it, sensing danger. But with Allied troops in Sicily and Rome burning, delay becomes impossible. The meeting is scheduled for 24 July 1943. It will begin late in the evening and it will last through the night as Sicily continues to fall, as German units quietly prepare to abandon the island, as Allied bombers warm their engines for another night over Italy. The fate of the fascist regime is no longer being decided by armies alone. It is being decided in whispered conversations. In carefully worded motions. In a single vote that could change everything. Mussolini still believes he is indispensable, still believes the king needs him, still believes Germany will save Italy, somehow. But power, once absolute, has a way of vanishing without warning, and as Rome settles into uneasy darkness on the night of the 24th of July, one question hangs over the city like the low hum of distant aircraft when the moment comes. Will anyone step forward to stop his fall? The night stretches on inside the Palazzo Venezia. Cigarette smoke hangs low beneath chandeliers. Voices rise, then fall. Papers shuffle. Outside, Rome sleeps uneasily, unaware that the fascist regime is being dismantled word by word. The Fascist Grand Council has not met like this since before the war turned sour. Now, one by one, men who once cheered Mussolini's rise speak with careful precision. They do not shout. They do not accuse him directly. They talk about loyalty, to Italy, to the crown, to survival. Dino Grandi waits. When he finally stands, the room stills. His proposal is framed as legality, not rebellion. A return of supreme military authority to King Victor Emmanuel III. A restoration of constitutional order. No demand for Mussolini's resignation. No mention of arrest, but everyone understands what it means. If passed, Mussolini will no longer control the armed forces. The illusion of absolute power will evaporate. The debate lasts for hours. Some members hesitate, fearing German retaliation. Others fear the streets. What will the people do if the juice falls? Mussolini himself speaks near the end, rambling, defensive, insisting Italy can still fight on with German help. Few are convinced. Just before dawn on the 25th of July, 1943, the vote is taken. 19 in favor, 7 against, 1 abstention. For the first time since 1922, Mussolini has been formally overruled. He leaves the room pale, exhausted, still convinced the king will intervene on his behalf. After all, Victor Emmanuel appointed him, protected him, used him. Surely, the king will not abandon him now. That afternoon, Mussolini arrives at the Villa Savoia for his regular audience with the king. The gardens are quiet. Birds sing. Nothing appears unusual. The meeting lasts barely 20 minutes. Victor Emmanuel is calm, polite, distant. He tells Mussolini that the war is lost, that Italy needs peace, that General Pietro Badoglio has been appointed prime minister. Mussolini listens in stunned silence. There is no argument, no drama. When the meeting ends, Mussolini steps outside. A car is waiting. So are the carabinieri. He is informed he is being taken for his own protection. The doors close. The engine starts. The juice of fascism, once hailed as Illinois juice, the embodiment of the state, is driven away as a prisoner. Rome does not erupt. There are no riots. No mass protests. No desperate last stands. Instead, there is relief. Crowds gather cautiously. Fascist symbols are torn down. Statues are defaced. Newspapers quietly change their tone. Badoglio appears on the radio, announcing that the war continues, a deliberate lie meant to buy time. Italy, officially, is still Germany's ally. In reality, everything has changed in Sicily. The consequences are immediate. German commanders, already skeptical of Italian reliability, move fast. They assume control of key defensive positions and begin planning a large-scale evacuation. Italian units are sidelined, disarmed, or simply ignored. Trust has evaporated overnight. Meanwhile, Allied forces continue their advance. Palermo falls. Axis airfields are overrun. The Luftwaffe withdraws northward. The Regia Aeronautica, already battered, barely contests the skies. On the 17th of August, 1943, the last German troops escape Sicily across the Strait of Messina in a tightly executed operation. It is a tactical success, but strategically meaningless. The invasion of Italy itself is now inevitable. Back in Rome, Badoglio's government walks a tightrope. Publicly, they insist loyalty to Germany remains. Privately, they send secret envoys to the Allies. Negotiations begin in Lisbon, Madrid, and finally Sicily. The goal is clear: get out of the war before Italy is destroyed, but time is running out. Hitler is furious. He never trusted Italy completely, and now his worst fears are confirmed. German plans are activated immediately. Operation Axi, a contingency for Italian defection. Wehrmacht units pour into northern and central Italy. Key bridges, rail hubs, and communication centers are quietly seized. Italy is being occupied by its own ally. Italian commanders receive no clear orders. Some prepare to resist. Others wait. Many do nothing, paralyzed by uncertainty and conflicting loyalties. The Italian army, millions strong on paper, begins to fracture. On the 3rd of September, 1943, Allied troops land at Calabria. The invasion meets minimal resistance. Italian coastal batteries remain silent. German units withdraw northward, conserving strength. That same day, Italy signs an armistice with the Allies, but it is kept secret for 5 more days. Italian soldiers fight alongside Germans, or stand beside them, completely unaware that their government has already surrendered. Then, on the 8th of September, 1943, the truth explodes across the radio waves. Badoglio's voice crackles through static, announcing the armistice. The war, he says, is over. It is not for Italian soldiers across Europe. The announcement is chaos. German units move instantly, disarming entire divisions. In the Balkans, on the islands of the Aegean, and across mainland Italy, thousands of Italians are captured. Others attempt to resist and are crushed. Some manage to escape into the mountains. Italy collapses in on itself, and Mussolini, he is moved constantly. Ponza, La Maddalena, Gran Sasso, kept isolated, guarded, forgotten by many who once praised him. The man who built a cult of personality is now alone, cut off from power, cut off from Germany, cut off from history itself. Or so it seems. High above central Italy, German intelligence is tracking his movements. Paratroopers train in secrecy. Plans are drawn with obsessive detail, because for Hitler, Mussolini is not finished. Not yet. Italy tears itself apart, caught between invasion, occupation, and civil war. Another dramatic reversal is already being prepared, and soon, the fallen dictator will hear the sound of aircraft engines once more, not as a ruler, but as a prize. The rotors cut through the thin mountain air without warning. On the 12th of September, 1943, high above the Abruzzo Plateau, gliders skid across rock and grass near the Gran Sasso Hotel. German paratroopers spill out, weapons raised, boots crunching on stone. Italian guards freeze. No shots are fired. In minutes, the doors are breached. Inside, Benito Mussolini looks up in disbelief. He has been found. Within an hour, the former dictator is lifted into a tiny Fiesler Storch aircraft, its engine screaming as it claws its way off the mountain's edge. Below, Italy fractures into chaos. Above, Germany has reclaimed its fallen ally. Hitler will not allow Mussolini to disappear quietly. Within days, Mussolini is flown to Germany. He is thinner. Shaken. No longer defiant. Hitler greets him as a symbol, not a partner. Italy, he says, must continue the fight. Fascism must be reborn. Mussolini agrees, but the Italy he returns to is no longer a nation, it is a battlefield. In the north, under German occupation, the Italian Social Republic is proclaimed. It is fascist in name only. Real power lies with German generals, SS commanders, and occupation authorities. Mussolini signs decrees. Gives speeches. Poses for cameras, yet everyone knows the truth. He is a prisoner with a podium. Meanwhile, the Allies land at Salerno. September 1943. The beaches erupt in fire. German counterattacks are swift, brutal, precise. Tanks push toward the waterline. Artillery pounds the landing zones. For a moment, the invasion teeters, but Allied naval guns roar. Air superiority grinds German movement to dust. Slowly, painfully, the beachhead holds. Italy becomes a grinding campaign. Mountains, rivers, ruined towns. Cassino. Anzio. The Gothic line. Every mile north costs blood, and caught in the middle is the Italian population. Villages are burned in reprisals. Partisans rise in the hills. Germans execute hostages. Fascist militias hunt dissenters. Brother turns against brother. The civil war no one wanted has begun. This is the legacy of Mussolini's fall. In Rome, liberation finally comes in June 1944. Crowds flood the streets. Bells ring. Flags appear from hiding. The city survives, but only just. Further north, the war drags on into 1945. Mussolini watches from afar, issuing broadcasts few believe. His words sound hollow now. The certainty is gone. The thunder replaced by bitterness. By April 1945, the end is unavoidable. German forces in Italy are collapsing. Partisans close in. Mussolini attempts to flee toward Switzerland with a small convoy, disguised in a German uniform. He does not get far. On *** 27 April 1945 ***, he is recognized and captured near Lake Como. The next day, Mussolini and his companion Clara Petacci are executed by Italian partisans. Their bodies are taken to Milan and hung upside down in Piazza Loreto, a public, brutal symbol of final reckoning. The crowd does not cheer wildly, they stare. This is not triumph. It is exhaustion. It is the end of an illusion that promised greatness and delivered ruin. The invasion of Italy did more than remove a dictator. It shattered a myth. Fascism claimed order, strength, destiny. But when pressure came, real pressure, it collapsed from within. Not by revolution. Not by heroic resistance. But by quiet votes, whispered betrayals, and a king who chose survival over loyalty. Italy's surrender did not end the war faster. It made it messier. Bloodier. More complicated. Yet it exposed a truth that echoed across Europe: alliances built on fear do not endure defeat, and innovation, military, political, ideological, cuts both ways. The Allies refined amphibious warfare, logistics, and joint operations in Italy. Germany perfected occupation and counterinsurgency. Civilians paid the price for both. Even today, the lessons linger. Power without accountability corrodes. Charisma cannot replace competence, and when a nation entrusts itself to a single voice, the fall is never quiet. Somewhere in Rome, the stones of the Palazzo Venezia still stand. The balcony is still there. Empty, and the question remains, long after the guns fell silent, when the next strong voice rises, promising certainty in uncertain times, will we recognize the sound of footsteps before the door quietly closes again?